You can say your names to identify yourselves first of all.
Okay. Alright.
I'm Angelo. Moore, play sax and vocals.
And Kendall Jones, I play guitar.
Dirty Walter A. Kibby the second, Dog King of the Freaks.
Looking over the lyric sheet to Truth and Soul, it seems to be a lot more political than before.
I think the statements aren't any less political. I think they're more straight than any of the other records. I just think they're more straightforward, not as inside and satirical as the last two records.
Any reason for taking a more straightforward approach?
Well, it was about time, you know, that we just, you know, stopped being so esoteric and just being straight to the point, because in these times, I think it needs to be said pretty straightforward now.
Yeah. Metzler, he used to cover a broad spectrum of like problems, and then it kind of finishes up with the song "Change," which hints at change. A lot of people have said, a lot of musicians say that the music's not going to change anything. You know, would you agree, or do you think the music's a viable?
Well, I think music is a step forward to change for many. You know, many who listen to music and enjoy music.
Do you think people listening to your stuff will start thinking about change? Or do you think it's something already on their mind?
Oh, well, most of our crowd is already pretty conscious anyway. But, you know, we pick up new people all the time. So it's, you know, it works in a pretty nice direction for us.
But you think you kind of bring it, you're already bringing something out of them that's already there?
Yeah. It's like a righteousness.
Yeah. People are just afraid to show it, you know?
Yeah. Music does affect the change, you know. I mean, even it may be small, it might be just more like a catalyst, you know, for what's going on, but, you know, it does. You can change the world with music. But not on the particularly grandiose scale.
The Fishbone the heavier stuff, he says there's more of a heavy metal type of sound to this album than before. Is that correct observation? Yes, you're shaking your head.
I never really... That's the second time I've heard somebody say that. I've never really looked at it or heard it that way. It's more heavy metal sounding, but if you hear it that way...
I guess it is that way.
I guess it is that way. It's different ways to many people, man. Yeah. A lot of people hear it different. You know?
I think this is definitely heavy rock edge to it, you know. So, you know, that's, you know, we've always played that. I think this album represents the most focused musical piece of work we've done, simply because it encompasses more of what we've done, live on this record than we've ever, you know, done on record. So it kind of gets, it's not complete as it is live, but it's a more focused picture.
It's a better representation of the live show.
Absolutely.
Why is that though? Why is that?
Well, because the last records were pretty much kind of hinted on all the styles of music that we play, which we do live, and this one shows it, you know, in a more accurate form, you know, and plus it's pretty focused considering how many different styles of music are on it. And the other two records were great, but, you know, the first EP was basically, you know, pretty much a reggae influence and, you know, one heavy funk song on it. In Your Face kind of got to where this record is, and we're still going. The next record, we're even, you know, looking with foresight to what the next record's going to sound like. And so, you know, this is definitely the best representation of our work we've ever done so far.
Is that a result of your becoming more comfortable in the studio?
Absolutely, and just you know, we're still young and we're improving as musicians as well, and so we pretty much know what we're going after, and we know how to get it now.
But that doesn't go to say that the next album just might be totally different, man. You'll never know.
Plenty of room for change.
Fishbone.
Oh yeah, that's what our Fishbone is.
Spontaneity.
We just do what we feel.
The album, I saw like Billboard, I think it was last week, it just came back into the charts. What exactly accounted for that?
People like it and they're still buying it.
I mean, it just got it out of nowhere. It's not like exactly it was a hot Christmas album.
even though it
They
wasn't.
just all of a sudden found out about it, man. Sometimes record freezes, and sometimes people just all of a sudden find out about it, man. Weird how it happens, but it happens.
Well,
Plus, we've been working at it.
plus,
Staying on the road.
and people just, everyone has Michael Jackson and Guns N' Roses already. It's time to buy something new.
I was looking forward to hearing Freddie's Dead on the radio, but it never really quite made it.
Well, radio is still kind of stodgy when it's something that they doesn't easily fit into their format.
Yeah, I think they're jaded. Really
And
jaded, man. They can't figure out whether they want to put us on black radio or white radio. This is probably having mistakes, right? Okay.
Right.
Being that they have such a problem with pigeonholing bands, and they want to pigeonhole us so bad, and we just cannot be pigeonholed because we play music. We don't play black music or white music. We play music, period. Music is music. You have different grooves and you have different, styles of music, but music is music, man. There is no color to music. That's what they just refuse to believe in, see? Therefore, we just barely get played on the radio, except for college and maybe some top 40 here and there, just a little bit.
Not enough. But, come on, radio is just... And right now, radio in America is a farce, so who cares?
Yeah, fuck them.
It is kind of strange the way it works, how they can come up with a black chart. What about your shows? What kind of people are you drawing?
We draw all kinds of people.
Yeah.
And one thing I'm starting to like is that we're getting more of a black following as well. Which is really positive. For a long time, our black draw wasn't that big, and now we're starting to mix. There's still a majority of the people are white, but it's starting to integrate a little bit more, and so the message is kind of fanning out now. And as radio, it's a problem, but no radio programmer wants to lose his job, so they're gonna stick to what's in the mainstream, unless everyone else does it.
So you blame the whole thing on radio then? It's as easy as that.
Most of it.
Yeah. They're kind of shutting off the possible avenues to you guys.
Yeah, because
and a lot of other
because they
people
don't want
too.
to change, man. You're gonna have to change sometime. I mean, people say, well, you should play this type of music on there. You gotta play, but somebody has to take a step, man. Somebody has to take a step first.
It's not with us. It's at least somebody that's not necessarily a Whitney Houston or Michael Jackson. It's good enough to see Guns N' Roses make it, to a band like that, but it took them over a year, on one record, and that's what's happening. And the same thing's happening with Living Color. Albums have been out for like almost their record's been out since last April, and now it's just climbing the charts now. And so what I think is that everyone, I guess I don't know if it's a reflection of what's happening with our record re-entering the charts, but I think a lot of people go back and look at something and say, boy, I think I missed something, and then it shifts back up again. So who knows? But I don't think radio has a factor with our record re-entering the charts.
So you guys are just going to have to kind of commit yourself to long days on the road.
Yep.
Just going to have to take the music to the people directly.
Yep, because of them fucking radio stations.
Well, you seem to be mad about it, but I mean, don't you like to perform live?
Oh yeah, I love performing live, man.
I'd rather perform.
But it's just the fact that there are people that don't go see live bands, okay? And they only hear one thing, man. They only hear one thing, right? And the one thing that we're not included in that one thing that you usually hear on the radio or you usually see on TV. See, so they stay ignorant of a lot of things.
It's funny, like you mentioned Guns N' Roses, because they did take their music to the people and they ate it up, and also Metallica is another band that has succeeded in doing that.
But they
Without
don't
radio.
play it on radio.
Not at all,
Nope.
exactly.
Nope.
Even to this day, they've gone top 10 and they still are ignored by radio.
Yep.
Do you consider that a possibility for yourself? You could work, like the album could climb to the top of the charts, you could still be ignored.
Yep.
So fuck radio, man.
It's still important, but it's just not a representation about how a lot of people in America think musically. It's not. It's just too commercialized.
Seems like you would get play on the college charts, though.
We do.
Yeah.
That's just not enough.
I mean, people that listen to college radio are people that, pretty much know what's happening at the music scene. And, the thing is, if you want to broaden the audience, and, it seems like you have to cater to them.
いや、そのラジオの状況で、the names Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, I think I what you were saying.
Shitney Puxton?
You can't worry about people like that,
Well, what he was saying was that they've achieved incredible success, but they don't seem to be dealing with the same kind of problems that you guys are trying to approach in your own music.
Well, Mike,
they don't have those same kind of problems.
Really?
They don't have those same kind of problems, They're living in a fantasy world, as we would call it.
Only problem Whitney Houston is having is Kelly McGillis.
Oh yeah, man, they doing it. But they're doing what everybody want to hear, man.
Yeah,
they're doing what everybody wants to hear.
The sad thing, the only thing that
you're doing what people don't want to hear.
We're doing what we want to do.
Yeah,
I feel that one of their biggest reasons for doing it is for money, man.
I think so. It seems to me that Michael Jackson's having a great time.
I know. I'm pretty sure he's one of the greatest performers, man. I like Michael Jackson. I just wish he wouldn't have had that face, man.
The funny blonde.
Yeah.
He's weird.
I like this flat nose, man.
But the thing that annoys me is like people like Whitney Houston, who you call her whatever, but the thing is that she can get up, do Live Aid, and totally squeeze Stevie Wonder's off the set because she's on a star trip. Then she comes off and says, "I'm bigger than the Beatles because I've had #7 #1 top 10 hits off my one record." And the bitch didn't write one song,
Would you say there's an attitude problem?
A big attitude problem for somebody that only sings, and she can sing, but it's just not. It doesn't warrant that kind of ego, I have more respect for people like Prince in as far as the humanitarian aspect of it, because he doesn't tell anybody what he does. He just does it, he'll put on if he plays a show, he'll put on a whole private show for autistic children and stuff like that, and give money off a ticket price to the United Negro College Fund. And people don't know about this. It's not because it's not a big deal. Help the homeless. Or whatever. People that act and don't say what they do. Just to say, oh, he's so humanitarian. It rates a little higher with me than someone who's overtly flaunting it, and you could tell just really doesn't give a damn.
Okay, so if and when Fishbone shoots to the top of the charts, what would be first on your list of priorities? Where would you start to?
I'd start with the United Negro College Fund and probably cancer research. Now, that's me personally.
So do you guys all have change on your minds, like when you do achieve that position of power there towards the top? Do you have in mind what you want to do?
I'd like to have an army. I'd like to have an army of mercenaries to go into South Africa and just take out the government.
You have to put a big fire on the whole government's neck and burn it.
Yeah.
Me personally, I'd like to get an army of mercenaries and go through the United States first.
You can do that too.
That's my mind,
You're from LA, right?
No, I'm from Columbus, but I live in Los Angeles.
Is that right? Have you encountered a lot of problems?
Oh, we encounter problems all the time.
Like what, for example?
Racist cops, racist, gang problems, regular drug problems.
Is that why you decided to do Freddy's Dead?
No, well, Freddy's Dead is the song can go on forever as long as we have a drug problem, as long as we have people out there selling dope,
And the government in the United States that's actually bringing it in, and that's why if you ever watch the stuff with Oliver North and all this stuff, the reason why so many of the charges are being dropped because what they call sensitive information. You know, a lot of it is that the mercenaries that were hired to give the guns to the Contras are also flying in cocaine as well to Florida via Panama. And they call these guys mercenaries, but all of these guys were CIA operatives. So, you know, this government our government was bringing cocaine in while it was waging a war on drugs. So, you know, that's a big problem there too, and it's big hypocrisy. So when you look at a song like Freddie's Dead, it's not necessarily that it's saying drugs are evil. It says be aware of what's happening, and this is the end result. If you do deal with drugs, whether you're dealing or something, the end result's going to be your demise. And the song is timeless in that respect, that it's not preaching, it's just telling you, you know, hardcore facts.
Has Curtis Mayfield heard your version? Have you heard anything from him, any feedback?
Yes, we have. As a matter of fact, talked to him personally about it. He dug it. Too bad he's not getting any money for it because Michael Jackson owns the publishing.
Is that right? Damn. Is that right? He sold
up
everything.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It just means that Curtis sold it though.
Yeah, because he had to sell it.
Probably had to. You know, you have to eat, you know.
Yeah.
Curtis Mayfield has a huge amount of money.
Really?
I don't know if his money is like it used to be.
He just re-released Freddie's Dead himself.
Is that right? Huh. How did you happen to meet Curtis Mayfield?
We did a track for him for this movie called I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. Right? And we did a soundtrack for it called Fly Guy. Okay.
I'm not familiar with that film. How was he involved in it? You say his film?
Oh, he helped us. He wrote the song and we did the music.
But he scored the movie?
Not all of it, but you know, basically what happened is it's a movie on a spoof of all the black exploitation films of the 70s, you know, like Shaft and Cleopatra Jones and all that. So they brought him together with Isaac Hayes and a whole lot of Jim Brown, a whole lot of Bernie Casey and all these people.
People from that era.
Yeah, and you know, they said, well, you know, Curtis Mayfield wrote the best, soundtrack, scored for Superfly. So they said, all right, we want you to do it again. This character that he's doing is like a pimp. It's humorous, you know, and it's like, but so you know, we ended up working with him on the song for the movie, and you know, we got to shoot the breeze a little bit.
It was kind of a pleasant surprise to me because Curtis Mayfield has been a hero of mine, and for you guys to kind of bring his stuff back out again, it seems to, you know, a lot of people from that era are gaining respect now, but he's sort of being overlooked, it seems.
Well, because I don't know. I guess the thing about Curtis Mayfield is that, you know, if you listen to songs that he did, you know, like The Jam did Move On Up and stuff like that. And, you know, I think he gets more respect abroad than he does in the United States, you know.
It could be.
His music was too vital, and white America really wasn't with it.
Well, it was a #1 album back in '72, though.
Yeah, but the music was. But how quickly you forget, you know?
I guess so. Yeah, that's true.
But his music is popping up now more in rap too, though.
That's right, Pusher Man, though.
Ice-T,
yeah, it's a good track too. It does. You know, American radio not being able to figure out. Well, it says, you know, the Japanese probably have the same problem in that, you know, most of the black artists they see over here tend to be part of the black artist establishment. Their influence are involved. Black music is quote unquote black. In your case, you seem to span a wider spectrum. He asks, does that come from your own musical background?
Yeah.
I know you're probably hit with this question all the time, but
So we listen, man. When we were younger, a lot younger, you know, in the younger days, listening to James Brown, Led Zeppelin, Dead Kennedys, Sly and the Family Stone.
This is just you. Not the other guys are all listening.
Oh yeah, everybody.
Everybody comes the same.
Pretty much. The thing about a lot of people, Parliament Funkadelic.
Well, coming from Columbus, that's kind of the Mecca out there.
That's one of the reasons why we together now, man.
The thing about
Bootsy and Ray James.
yeah. And the thing is that people, when you listen to old funkadelic, it was just hardcore. You know, psychedelic, but it's funky. Heavy metal, but funky.
True, absolutely.
And it's like, you know, you get all the spectrum.
Driving guitars.
Yeah, and heavy. I mean, great guitar players. You know, and you know Hendrix. My parents, you know, my mom liked a lot of rock and roll. She even liked David Bowie back in the Ziggy Stardust days. You know, but she was more into the Temptations. I think that was her favorite group ever. But you know, we had a pretty broad spectrum of what my mother and father listened to, and so you know, I never really knew what the big deal was, why people couldn't get into rock and roll. I just remember back in junior high school, kids would come up to me and say, "Do you like disco?" And I said, "No, I like funk." And they said, "Well, what's funk?" They wouldn't know the difference. Because back then it was like their whole disco sucks thing, you know, which it does, you know. But you know, it was hard, you know. Just I think more people just have a whole idea of what people are supposed to listen to. We're supposed to be listening to like Whitney Houston or whatever like that. They're supposed to be listening to Guns N' Roses, you know. And it's all bullshit. Music is for everybody.
I know, man. I'd be in Los Angeles sometimes downtown. Some of my friends would say, "Man, you listening to that white boy music, man? You listening to that punk rock?" I said, "Yeah, man, punk rock. Yeah, I like it. You know, there's nothing white about it. Nothing black about funk. Whatever. It's just music, man. It's music."
So the same, like the white community was rejecting disco and funk. You said a lot of your friends were rejecting white stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
You know, but like I'd listen to it after a while. They say, yeah, that's all right, but they gotta listen to it first. They gotta push away that barrier, man. Just for the fact that it's white music, you know, it's too white or it's too black. See, he introduced me to ska.
Was it right?
Yep, I remember on the bus, the Selector, Too Much Pressure. I said, "Who was that?" Selector, man. On the way to the valley.
History is made.
Yeah.
それぞれのなんていうか音楽体験について語ってもらって、I guess somebody read an interview somewhere that you were brought up, you were bused to a white area or something?
No, I lived in a white area.
We were bused.
You were bused. Okay. Things mixed up.
Everybody but Angelo. Angelo's the only one to live in the valley.
He talked about ghetto soundwave during the question. And he wanted to know if that was, first of all, based on fact.
That's fact.
That song is hardcore.
Everything we write is facts. Based on facts. Everything we write.
You know.
But I mean, is that like part of a series of
things that happen? The thing about Ghetto Soundwave, when I wrote the song, it was basically about apathy. You know. About, you know, you see all this happening. It's an everyday thing, you know, a police officer shoot down, you know, some black kid, you know, just they don't even know who it was. There was one incident where we were riding down, you know, me, a couple other people in my band were riding down, riding in a car, you know, minding our business. Next thing you know, police pull us over, draw guns on us, and say that we tried to rob a hamburger stand, which was closed down, and you know there's nothing in it. So you know we've dealt with that, and then there's the racism that's brings to poor people. You know, so like the whole thing, the way the power structure is set up, it's not really racist if you look at it for the real things, purely economic. And the economics of racism is divide and conquer. If you get the black people in a community with the Mexican people, and you get them not to like each other, trust each other, and deal with each other, they'll never unite to defeat the common enemy, which is the power structure that's denying all these people their basic human needs and keeping the people in poverty while the other people live off of it. It happens to be that the people with all the money happen to be white. You know. It would probably work out the same way if you reverse the roles. It's economics. You have the haves and the have-nots, and the haves are going to always try to keep what they have, you know. No one likes to lose. And so Ghetto Soundwave is, you know, you see people You know, so that was, you call them like, you see a Mexican, you call them a wetback or whatever. And, you know, and they probably love America more than, you know, somebody like me, you know, and it's like, you see that, and yet they're denied, you know, human dignity as well as everyone else. And so the song is just about, hey, people, after a while, they just don't care anymore. And that's what the ghetto sound wave is, apathy.
One of the things he was getting out of the question there is, have you encountered a lot of these incidents?
Absolutely. Almost every day, you know. It's almost every day. When I used to stay in the ghetto, there was always some cop doing something outlandish. I've even seen cops buying crack, you know, at a very reduced rate, you know. So, you know, I'd see musicians come by the neighborhood. Like, I used to see the DeBarges come. There was this rock house street, like 2 houses away from where I used to live.
A rock house?
A rock house where they sell cocaine. And I used to see them come by. The DeBarges, a few other famous people would come by and buy their drugs there. My street was notorious for it was the biggest drug selling streets in Los Angeles. The name of the street was called Black Welder, but it's renamed Rock Welder, so you can get your rocks there.
I guess the problem is insidious because nobody's willing to deal with that kind of community except in terms of like getting drugs.
Yep.
That's the only time they're willing to devote money to it.
Yeah, I've seen all sorts of weird things. You know, girls literally just throwing themselves on anybody who'll just, you know, buy them, just get them these drugs. You know.
So, like, is it a banned policy to keep drugs out of the picture?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there are certain things that, you know, I don't see necessarily evil. You know, so like if somebody's smoking a joint, you know, that's nothing. You know, it's organic. It's really not harmful.
Right.
And, you know, but when you start dealing with stuff like heroin, cocaine,
Yeah, that hard shit's got to go.
you know, LSD and stuff like that, even all these drugs, you know, are potentially harmful to you in the long run, and that's where we keep out of it. You know.
Do you think if you hadn't discovered music, you would have had to deal with drugs somewhere along the line?
No, not me, because I just don't have that kind of personality.
Do you think it's a personality thing though?
Well, yeah, and peer pressure. You know,
Right.
I've had parents that, you know, taught me good. You know, that taught me like, well, look, if you're gonna deal with this is what's gonna happen to you, and you can see the results out on the street. You know. I was more motivated with, you know, doing school, you know, but I can't speak for that for everybody, you know.
The live show here, you saw the first night. And, you know, you kicked off the show, Angelo, by kind of diving into the crowd. I was wondering if any of you guys have ever gotten seriously hurt through any of these
Oh yeah.
But we risk our lives for the show. If you're paying that much money to come see Fishbones, somebody's got to at least, you know, have a heart attack.
Gotta see blood. Gotta see blood. あれだけの金取ってるからね。一応命かけてる。血ぐらい出す。
One thing that should happen more is when people stage dive, they should catch them, man. They should catch them, not let them fall, like parting like the sea. Let people hit, they should catch them, man. It's like, it may be funny, right? But it's really important, though. Because, you know, when you have a show like Fishbone, a really high-powered show, and people are getting crazy, man, you know, you got to stick together. Everyone has to stick together, you know. So, you know, so when the crowd shifts like that or whatever, and somebody gets trampled, you got to be able to pick them up, man. You know, send them on their way, you know, whatever, you know, or if somebody dives out, you know, to catch them and toss them around or whatever, you know. Not just let them hit the ground and step on them, man. Plenty of times, but you just got to know what you're doing, man. Easy. It's not hard. I mean, you don't have to, like, it ain't scientific or nothing. I mean, you just got to, like, got to feel it, that's all.
Who knows? You could be preparing yourself for a career as a stuntman later.
Well, he's jumped from like a second level into a crowd of people in Atlanta. It's pretty high up. They caught him too.
Yeah, man.
It was real nerve-wracking because if they wouldn't have caught him, splat.
But
Dead man.
the people couldn't have moved anyway, man. They were all crowded like that. So I say,
Crunched together.
yeah, I said,
You saw the chance.
How did that feel?
It felt good, man. Falling through the air.
Jesus Christ. Are you sure you don't have like a death wish that you want to
Because I would have did that. That looked like fun.
That shit was fun, boy.
Oh, man.
I wish I could have
You
jumped
would've done
out
that,
further,
Mark?
though.
Hell no. Not for no purpose.
It's
Be a purpose for me to do that, man.
not an email.
So I ain't jumping out there today.
The show there with Change, you know, you kind of you had the people sort of dancing the whole time, and then when you played Change, you kind of brought everybody back down again. And he's not sure whether or not the intention of the song was conveyed there.
I think so.
If they come down, then the song worked. You know, so it doesn't send people out in the streets going, ah, throwing bottles and stuff, you know, celebrating like crazy, but, you know, leaving with a conscious mind instead of, you know, hoorahing, as they say.
Yeah, because that used to be a problem.
Yeah.
People could leave our shows and still be amped.
Go out there and get arrested. People running over cars and shit.
Defacing property. So we wrote Change. No. But
You went to the public to bring these people back down again.
yeah, because I mean, we go through so many spectrums, you know, when our show, you know, intense, mellow, intense,
Waves.
intense,
Like waves.
way, and then by the end of the show, it's but before we get to Change, it's just up here. Change brings everybody back here, and they get the whole intention of the show is to have a good time, party, but if you're not careful, you might learn something. And you know, and Change is like a perfect way to end the show because it brings everything back to a focus point of just it's positive, and you can't affect the change.
So what have done you then?
No, in Tokyo, yes.
Tokyo.
We've got tomorrow. We play Osaka, and then we go home. Well, not really home. We go to London, and then we'll be home for a little while.
Was it any different this time from last time?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Last time we only played one night in Tokyo. Oh, 2 nights. One in Stick, and I forgot the name of the hall we played.
Small club.
Yeah, and it was the other place was like around 1,200. This is the first time we did like 2 nights in a 1,400 seat venue plus another. So it was pretty fun, and I think people are now starting to get more of the message of what we're doing, and hopefully we'll be back. You know, and we'll continue to come here, and hopefully our audience will grow as you know we continue to play here.
We were in better health last time, too.
Yeah, Walt wasn't about to die.
Yeah,
Why do you all have colds? What's going on?
I don't know, it's his fault. See, when he came over here, he had this cold, I guess.
He gave it to the rest of the guys.
But then he gave it to me, and then it turned into a flu. And then,
He gave it to
I gave it to Fish.
drummer.
And then now me and Fish are the real sickly ones.
Oh, jeez.
Can't do it like, you know, like normal.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. It's just on the basis of, well, the shows and whatnot, and like pictures of you guys, we had expected somewhat more of a wild interview.
Lunatics, huh?
Yeah, lunatics. I mean, like complete.
Throwing sandwiches.
A couple of TVs thrown out the window. A bevy of beauties waiting around.
Yeah. Now we've got that out of the way.
Were you ever that way, say, in like the earlier stages of your career, though? Like when you first started out? Were you a little more...
Sometimes.
Yeah.
It depends on who was interviewing. If this dude was a complete jerk, we just act silly.
Yeah.
Have there been bad interviews, though? Like, have people like try to provoke you or something?
Yeah, they have. You know, people have asked you, you know...
Is that in England or America?
Oh, basically America. England, they seem to be more... They ask more astute questions because they want to really pick you apart.
Yeah, right.
You know, in the United States, they just read the press kit and ask you a couple of questions that when did you guys get together? How old is the band? How do you feel being compared to Bugs Bunny?
What's your favorite food? What's your favorite color?
The tough stuff.
Yeah,
Get your hair done, dude.
Why do you play the music that you play? And you say, gee, man, are you brain dead? And that's when the chocodiles and
That's what the chocolate flag.
yeah.
The chocolate.
Where did you get my name?
How long have you been a ska band? And
Yeah, really.
tell us the ska band. You and the Untouchables.
Do you know the Red Hot Chili Peppers?
In other words, they don't really give a flying fuck about you guys.
Absolutely.
They have to do the interview and that stuff.
Yeah, that's when we get silly.
That's when you get silly.
Either that or we just interview them.
That's good. Hey, so how long has your hair been receding?
Very sensitive question.
Yeah. Were you always this fat, or did you work on it?
Is cocaine a regular thing in your diet or what?
Do you put heroin in your tea?
Aside from largely being ignored by the mass media, you've been treated kindly though for the little coverage you've gotten.
Oh yeah, because I mean we get very few jerks, you know. So we don't really have to act silly, you know.
The thing is, you don't have to work on an image or anything, right?
No, we don't have one. we just are what we eat, I guess.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks a lot. Cool.
Yeah, you thought it was easy.
We might have to take a couple
It's
photos.
easy if you
Pretty much a reggae influence, and one heavy funk song on it. In Your Face kind of got to where this record is, and we're still going. The next record, we're even looking with foresight to what the next record's going to sound like. And so, this is definitely the best representation of our work we've ever done so far.
Is that a result of your becoming more comfortable in the studio?
Absolutely, and just we're still young and we're improving as musicians as well, and so we pretty much know what we're going after, and we know how to get it now.
But that doesn't go to say that the next album just might be totally different, man. You'll never know.
Plenty of room for change.
Fishbone.
Oh yeah, that's what our Fishbone is.
Spontaneity.
We just do what we feel.
The album, man, I saw like Billboard, I think it was last week, it just came back with it.
People are just afraid to show it,
Yeah, music does affect the change, I mean, even it may be small, it might be just more like a catalyst, for what's going on, but it does. You can change the world with music, but not on the particularly grandiose scale.
The Fishbone hunting, the heavier stuff, he says there's more of a heavy metal type of sound to this album than before. Is that a correct observation? Yes, you're shaking your head.
I never really... That's the second time I've heard somebody say that. I've never really looked at it or heard it that way. It's more heavy metal sounding, but if you hear it that way...
I guess it is that way.
I guess it is that way. It's different ways to many people, man.
Yeah.
A lot of people hear it different,
I think this is definitely heavy rock edge to it,
You can say your names to identify yourselves first of all.
Okay. Alright.
I'm Angelo. Moore plays sax and vocals.
And Kendall Jones, I play guitar.
Dirty Walter A. Kibby the second dog king of the freaks.
Looking over the lyric sheet to Truth and Soul, it seems to be a lot more political than before.
I think I think the statements aren't any less political. I think they're more straight than any of the other records. I just think they're more straightforward, not as inside and satirical as the last two records.
Any reason for taking a more straightforward approach?
Well, it was about time, that we just, stopped being so esoteric and just being straight to the point, because in these times, I think it needs to be said pretty straightforward now.
Yeah,
So, that's, we've always played that. I think this album represents the most focused musical piece of work we've done, simply because it encompasses more of what we've done, live on this record than we've ever, done on record. So it kind of it's not complete as it is live, but it's a more focused picture.
It's a better representation of the live show.
Absolutely.
Why is that, though? Why is that?
Well, because the last records were pretty much kind of hinted on all the styles of music that we play, which we do live, and this one shows it, in a more accurate form, and plus it's pretty focused considering how many different styles of music are on it. And the other two records were great, but the first EP was basically
Used to cover a broad spectrum of problems, and then it kind of finishes up with the song "Change," which hints at change. A lot of people have said, a lot of musicians say that the music's not going to change anything. Would you agree, or do you think the music's a viable?
I think music is a step forward to change for many. Many who listen to music and enjoy music.
Do you think people listening to your stuff will start thinking about change, or do you think it's something already on their mind?
Oh, well, most of our crowd is already pretty conscious anyway. But we pick up new people all the time, so it's it works in a pretty nice direction for us.
But you think you kind of you're already bringing something out of them that's already there?
Yeah. It's like a righteousness.